Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm back under the 4.5 today. Last video I posted was about the grease fittings on the front subframe axle, so I thought I'd go to the back and just check them out before I put this back on the road. So there's two fittings at the back there, two zerk fittings that need lubricating, and also I thought I would spend the time just draining the rear differential. I did that some years ago, and I know that it's something that can go for some time. I'm not sure the mileage intervals on that, but I thought while I was on there, it doesn't take a few minutes just to drain it. I'll show you what I found, and everything looks fine. And yeah, let's get to it. I'll show you what's under there. First things first, drain the differential. Where are we here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so make sure you take the fill plug out first. You don't want to drain it and then find out you can't get the darn fill plug out. So make sure you clean around, take the fill plug out. It's one of these hex sockets, not sure of the size here. The hex socket is actually an H14. I was showing you the wrong one, so it's an H14. So that will take both of them out. So take the fill hole out and then just drain it here. I'm going to lower the car a little bit as well, just to make sure we get it all out. As you can see, the oil coming out. I'm not sure if you can see it still draining. It's relatively clear actually, because I try and stay on top of these things, but I thought while I was under it I'd drain it. It didn't take a few minutes, and obviously you want to try and look after the rear end here. And these are the two fittings, this little zerk fitting here, and then also on the other side to lubricate this pivot point here. Seals seem like they're in good shape. I'm gonna have a little closer at this boot seal at the top here, this concertina one. I think that's in pretty good, but good shape. I'll take a closer look at that in a minute. But overall, that's really all I wanted to do today, and then we'll put this back on the road. I'm quite you know, going from the 6.3 to the underside of this, it shows you, I mean, this is a really nice shape underside of this 108. I checked all along the pinch welds, all along the rockers, the attachment points to the rear suspension there, everything. I mean, it's also, it's obviously dirty, but I mean, it's in extremely straight, really nice shape, which is nice. I just as a little reference here, I put an inline filter, because you can see there's a little residue in there. I ought to see that's picking up. Look at all that residue at the bottom there. That's picking up filth from the tank. And this tank has been washed through some years ago. It's going straight from the tank to the pump and then to the fuel filter. It just seemed wrong to me. So I put an inline filter here that you can change pretty quickly, just pinching off these lines. Change that out, you can see. Look at all that residue at the bottom of that that's stopped going through there. So I'll change that out. I've got another one of those. So you might want to stick one of those just to protect your pump, because let's say they don't give these away, and you might as well try and protect it as much as you can. So you've obviously got the strainer inside the tank, hits this filter as well, and then to the pump, and then to the other filter. So you might want to try and do that. So I'm going to let this finish draining, make sure it's fully drained, put the old plug in. Also, I think Mercedes source, see these plugs here? I haven't got one, but he sells these plugs that have extremely strong magnets in. So if there is any residue kicking around in the differential, it's attracted to these magnets. That might be something I'll do in the future. Probably should have ordered one for this change, but I'll do that in the future, certainly on the 6.3, just to preserve the rear end. This 4.5, I did change out the hydromatic, you know, compensator, because that was typical sagging, and so I just bought a spring and just be done with it, you know. And it rides fine. It doesn't sit too high. Sometimes these springs can make the car sit a little high. It doesn't do that. And also I think you can buy rubber, different rubber bushings here to adjust them, so they have some adjustment. But I figured, you know, just stick that on and make it reliable, and don't have to worry about it again. think that's all for the moment. There on my 68 108, there are some zerk fittings down on the drive shaft at the carrier bearing and right at the front where it goes into the flex plate. Now I've gone down there and checked it and I don't see any zerk fittings on this. Now I don't know whether that's just a later model improvement, they didn't need them, but maybe I'm missing something. But I've thoroughly checked the full length of the drive shaft and I can't find any zerk fittings. But they are on my 68. So one other thing, I did this some years ago. Where are we now? Let me change my position. I did this some years ago. See the flexible brake line here, this one here. I changed those on the rear and the front as well. The flexible lines, they're something that gets neglected a lot, and they can act almost like a check valve and stop the brakes from releasing. So just change those. They're not expensive. Little fiddly to get to the back ones, but it's not too bad of a job. So I did that some years ago on this one. I'm yet to do it on the 68. That's one thing back here I thought I'd make note of. Fuel filter's been replaced not too long back, so I won't bother with that today, but I am going to change this inline filter, and if I haven't got one here I'll go and get one. I've just started to fill up. Basically, obviously most of you know this, but those of you who don't, you just use a little pump on top of your gear oil. This is a 90 weight gear oil, and you pump until it starts to back off out, yeah, you should be good to go, and then put the plug back in. I've got to buy a little bit more because I'm a little low here. I popped down the store and got a new inline filter. Not overly keen on these ones because it doesn't have metal tips, but this will do for the moment until I locate some ones they're kind of like brass tips at the end. That's the ones I prefer, but this will do. You make sure you get the direction in the correct position there, and then take these. The camera's going out of focus, I think. Alright, well, this camera keeps refocusing, but there we go. So once that gets pumping, it's nice and clear. Another job comes to mind, if you can see these clips here, this is the smooth band type for the fuel injection hoses. I've got some of the regular pipe clamps here. I don't like these because they tend to cut into the fuel line. And our next job I'm going to do is go through all of these and replace these with proper fuel injection bands. You know, they don't cut into the pipe like these. So that's here, and also really important up on the engine bay, because they've been up there for some years now in those injector fuel lines, and I want to replace all those. I check them regularly, you know, make sure I get no leakage, but that's something I need to do. So I refilled the gear oil, little drip came back out, and replugged it, and then we're all good to go. So one other thing you want to check, see the back plate here of the rear axle. If you're seeing any moisture back here, oil leaking down from the inside, along the end of these end shafts there's a flange and a seal in between, and that can leak. It was doing it on my 68 some years ago. I ended up having to pull the half shafts, and I ended up putting new bearings in and replacing that seal on the inside of the back here, because the lubricant will run down these tubes and to the end, and you got to make sure that there's no moisture back here, you know, because it could indicate those seals have gone. It's just a paper seal there. Thanks for joining me in this short video, just finishing up the lubrication of the 4.5, get the differential done, and so we're all ready to put this back on the road, and I'll bring the other one in and probably just do the same on that as well, and then get back to the other things around here. So have a great Christmas, guys. I'll see you in the new year. Take care.